go. Hello. Hello. My name is Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com. That's the city or town that I am the mayor of. That right there. Just a little website. Of course, it aggregates news 24 hours a day into 6 categories. The stream elements announcement is not correct. Anyway, let's continue on. So, ohmTown is a news aggregation site and community. There is discussion boards there for each one of the headlines. Not much really in terms of discussion going on, and I don't fake it before I make it. So a lot of other sites have done that, but not me. Yeah, I know it'll probably slow down engagement, but all of you immediate responders, jump in there and make some comments, post some things. Yeah, what can I say? Give it a try. I stream here on Twitch every single day, about 20 articles that I talk about briefly, and brief is subjective, so about an hour. All of the news gets funneled into these 6 categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. I speak from the perspective of business, society, and technology merged together in the 3, kind of form a triangle that you really just can't get away from in modern life. You are always being impacted by one of the 3. Society mostly it is a thing that guides business and technology guides business and society, and business influences society and technology. You really can't get away from the 3. So that's my area of focus. That's what I have done professionally. That's what I have done academically. So when I talk about the news, I may end up talking about my particular perspective. And I just had somebody jump into my chat and say, buy followers. No, I won't buy followers. So, bye. Anyway, so if you go into ohmTown.com, check out all of the news. Everything is cool there. I aggregate from a bunch of different sources and funnel it all into these 50 channels within it. And each one I hope to bring as a channel within ohmTown here on Twitch. And depending on what happens on Twitch, YouTube as well. But everything that I do goes over to YouTube as well as a podcast format. That is audio only. Unfortunately, you will have to click on the show notes to get to all of the material that we talk about when you're looking at the podcast or you're listening to the podcast. And the show notes go along with the YouTube channel as well. So go over to youtube.com and do a search for ohmTown. You'll find it, or just go to youtube.com/ohmTown. Same thing here on Twitch. It's just twitch.tv/ohmTown. Boom, here you are. Okay. That said, let's get into today's news. The very first article, and normally I wouldn't ban somebody, but that wasn't even a hello before you dropped purchase viewers. I mean, why would I purchase viewers? It's fake. I just got done talking that I don't fake it to make it. Either I make it on my own grounds or I don't. But it's God, it's so weird. I don't know why I even. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it anymore. Let's continue on. The first article is in the Word in Tech: analysis of ancient incense found at Famen Royal Temple. I think it's Famen. I hope it's not. Well, maybe it's Famen. I don't know. A team of researchers facilitated with the Palace Museum, the Famen Temple Museum, and the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, all in China, has conducted an analysis of ancient incense found at the Famen Royal Temple. I've said Famen a lot. In their paper published in Proceedings in the National Academy of Sciences, the group describes what they found through their analysis, and they believe their findings reflect the importance of the incense trade to the development of the Silk Road. Oh, wow. That's what it was in. That's pretty neat. So the begonia-shaped silver container with the aromatic powder Hexyang inside. I guess it's called Hexyang. This is an article over at phys.org by Bob Yurka from phys.org. And it says the Feimin Royal Temple, located in the Feimin town of Fufang County, was built between the years 499 and 532 CE for the explicit purpose of housing a finger bone from Sakyamuni, the founder of Buddhism. Interesting. Excavations at the site in 1987 revealed a previously unknown underground palace at the temple. In addition to the finger, the palace also contained several containers of incense. In this new effort, the researchers have turned their attention to study of the incense. So, of course, they use all of the tools to figure out what it is. And let's see if it says what might be in it. Nope, doesn't say exactly what was in it. So, let's see. Frankincense, for example, would have come from parts of Africa or Arabia, and the agar wood originated in India or Southeast Asia. So it had a few things in it that they've identified. Another container held a mixture of frankincense and agar wood, right? So the other ones contained agar wood and elemi resin that had been mixed. The latter, okay. So that's all that was in there. So I'm really curious of what the purpose of incense is, other than to smell good and maybe assist in meditation. Obviously, to me, I think that a lot of this kind of stuff has to do with like hallucinogenics. That's why indigenous people in America and other countries would smoke pot, marijuana, and it would get you closer to God, so to speak, and or nature, whatever the perspective is at the time. We have a lot of modern culture application of what we believe others did, but we don't truly know. So let's continue on with the next article. That was an interesting article. The next article is in the Hedge Ideas channel. The company buying Trump's social network, Truth Social, warned investors about his history of bankruptcy and failed business ventures. So I hope whoever was buying it real cheap. The company buying Trump's social network, Truth Social, warned investors about his past business failures. In a filing Monday, Digital World noted the bankruptcy of Trump Taj Mahal and his failure of Trump Vodka. The blank check firm is engineering. Pardon me. I had to sneeze. The blank check firm is engineering a merger with TMTG, the company that owns Truth Social. And this is my interpretation of how things work. Something will get spun up, it'll be on somebody else's dime, and he'll benefit from it. Always there's this draw value out, and then the company collapses. But, you know, if I do that kind of thing, then I'm burdened by the responsibility of having to pay the remaining debts or burdens of whatever the company is. But obviously, if you have money and you use other people's money, you don't get burdened by that. You just draw your value out before it collapses. So let's click the link. It takes us over to Business Insider. And Isabel Asher Hamilton is the author of this. And see, in a filing Monday, Digital World noted the bankruptcy of Trump Taj Mahal and failure of Trump Vodka. And there's other things and many other things, actually. And let's see if there's anything interesting in here. Oh, there we go. They talk more about it at Trump University, Trump Vodka, Trump Steaks. Just winning all around, right? Digital World, a SPAC, or blank check firm, is meeting to merge with Trump Media and Technology Group, TMTG, the owner of Truth Social. Trump himself would control between 47% and 58% of the merged company and would serve as its chairman. I wouldn't invest in that. Ever. Anyway, long pause, dead air. Real sorry about that. Monday's finally also showed that Trump has agreed to post on Truth Social 6 hours before making similar posts on other platforms. However, it is stipulated that Trump can post from any platform at any time for political messaging. So, just so you know, none of this actually has a social purpose. It has a political and narrative purpose when he's posting. Nothing is just because, so many of us use these social networks simply for social purposes, talking to other people, interacting, but not this. Plus, it's an echo chamber. Gosh. I don't know why people are so interested in echo chambers. It serves no purpose. You're just reinforcing the same things that you believe in anyway. So really, you're not really changing anything. You're not fixing anything. You're not even helping anyone. You're just echo chamber. The next article is in the continuity report. Disney Plus won't take ads for alcohol or politics to keep venue family friendly. Good on them if they want to eliminate certain things and they don't like the idea of alcohol or politics. I'm sure it extends to other things. They're not going to allow pot or overt drug use, I guess, unless it has a message to it. It's up to them. And that's how I kind of feel about Twitter and other places where they do their moderation and this whole Texas thing about being able to sue somebody for blocking them from a social network. It's all kind of odd. I clicked this simply because of that. We'll go over to variety.com. And Brian Steinberg is the author of the article. Again, the title is Disney Plus won't take ads for alcohol, politics to keep venue family friendly. Pardon me one second. I don't know. I went outside and I guess allergies are affecting me. But anyway, it says not every marketer is likely to get its commercials on a new ad-supported version of Disney Plus. I hope that they're not going to make the tier that I'm at ad-supported and that it's going to be a lower cost service. Let's see if it says it in here. Disney declined to make executives available for comment. Media buyers indicated that they were a little surprised by the amount of control the company is exerting over potential ad roster for the service, but also noted the dynamic might create a sense of scarcity for Disney Plus commercial inventory, which could in turn increase demand from marketers interested in the service, which, this is my perspective, might allow people to file a lawsuit claiming that they are anti-competitive because they are limiting certain things. There's usually no problem with this, but Disney is the big dog on the block, and anybody that can try and knock them down a peg or two, I'm sure it's people are kind of foaming at the mouth to try and address it, get some attention by suing them for blocking some people but not other people. It's always a them versus us dynamic, it seems, nowadays. Disney Plus ban on rival entertainment services may seem surprising, as many media companies accept movie trailers and commercials from rivals like Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. But Disney has been picky. In 2019, the company said it would no longer run ads from Netflix on entertainment networks like ABC, Freeform, and FX. And that its decision to run commercials from other rival services would hinge on whether the advertiser had broader relationship with Disney that could encompass not just advertising, but things such as distribution or programming. According to the article, it also says that policy appears to have come to an end, however, when it comes to streaming outlets. However, Disney won't accept commercials from their competitors. So it didn't really change, but at any rate, it doesn't look like the price has been disclosed. So we'll see what the ad-supported version is going to be like. So let's continue on. This is probably one of the only times that I'll make any mention of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. It's just not really something that I care too much about. I watch it for the legal aspect of it because of the program of study that I'm in, but this is in the continuity report because it has to do with movies. Amber Heard just happens to be the byproduct of this news bit. So it says Amber Heard says Aquaman 2 role got cut down, action scenes were taken away. My understanding is it's been quite a deep cut. Amber Heard claims that Warner Brothers didn't want to include me in the upcoming Aquaman sequel due to the fallout of her divorce from Johnny Depp. The actor said during her defamation trial against Depp that she was, quote, actively scheduling timing for filming, end quote, the second Aquaman movie until Depp's team called her a liar regarding certain aspects of it. We'll go over to Variety.com, and Zach Sharf is the author of this article. Yeah, so as far as I know, I've seen some of the marketing material for Aquaman 2, and I don't think that she's in it anymore. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to look again. But yeah, she said Heard said that communications about the sequel stopped at that point. Mainly because she made claims against Johnny Depp publicly, and there's a lot back and forth, and the trial is actually going right now. I've got it on my big screen over here, and it's pretty withering questioning that she's under right now. So I think a lot of it has been removed, so I don't know really what her role is going to be. I think the more that things become argumentative in the case, and some of the stuff that's on the back end that her legal team is doing or she is doing with Disney, I suspect that she'll be nixed from the film. But who knows? Yeah, really don't know. Yeah, if she does make $1 million for the 10 minutes that she's got in it, then that's some pretty good hourly rate there. Anyway, I don't know what she's getting for Aquaman 2, but let's continue on. This coupled with other things going on in the DC universe, and DC is kind of taking a beating right now, as well as Amber Heard. The next article is over in the continuity report as well. This show, Wheel of Fortune, it's in the United States. I don't know if it's everywhere else, but it says Wheel of Fortune is going to, on its first ever live tour, Wheel of Fortune Live is set to travel across North America for a tour of over 60 dates, starting on September 8th, offering fans a unique experience of the massively popular game show. This show is still going with the same two people running it. It's amazing. So this is an article over at Variety by Carson Burton, and it says exclusive. So how much of this is an exclusive, I don't know, but it's no secret that Wheel of Fortune is doing a tour. They've done tours before, but I don't think they've called it live. They've gone to other places, set up the set and done stuff. So I'm not quite sure exactly what the extent of this live part is, if it's going to be streaming, but it's always been Pat Sajak and Vanna White since 1975. So they're going on their 39th season. Pretty amazing. And they're they're just as sprightly as ever, I guess. I don't know how to phrase that, but going on 40 years worth of the same show, they seem to still enjoy it, I have a hard time doing anything for 4 months, let alone 40 years. Tickets for the live show start at $30, $29.50. Pre-sale begins May 17th. That's today at 12 p.m. That's 2 hours ago. No, that's 35 minutes ago, at least on the East Coast. And the general sale opens up next week at 10 a.m. on the 20th, actually. Man, I'm losing track of time. So on the 20th, 10 a.m., whatever it says local time, but I don't know what local time is, because local for me isn't local for somebody else. So 10 a.m., I guess, wherever you are. That's such a weird phrase. And there are VIP packages that'll offer fans early access, premier seats, pre-show lounge access, and photo opportunities to spin the wheel. How exciting. Now, fun show. Definitely not one that requires you to have to focus. So the next article is over in Smack Talk. And if you are in my chat, hello. Again, I don't know who actually is in my in my chat, because Twitter's chat tells me that I see a whole bunch of people, but I don't know who's really in there. Anyway, say hello if you are in here. Hello. This next article is in the Smack Talk channel. Apple is working on improving iPhone water and pressure resistance. Newly revealed research shows that Apple is investigating how to keep iPhone sensors working accurately while protected from high water pressure or low air pressure. Usually when Apple is granted a patent about pressure, it has to do with controlling a device with touch. So let's click this link and see what's going on here. This is an article over at appleinsider.com by William Gallagher. And it has a big old photo of the connector. That's kind of one of the problems with water infiltration, is always these little connectors and grills and stuff like that. You can't really, you don't see my cursor, but anyway. So whenever you have something that penetrates the outer casing, so the screen and its contact with the case, it's all hermetically sealed there. You're not going to get anything in it. But speakers and power cords, power connectors, screw holes, buttons that pierce the side casing, things like that, that always is the means for water infiltration. And the deeper you go, the more pressure, and thus water will press its way in. The various sensors and whatnot, that can be protected if it's inside the device. They may have found that under pressure, the pressure sensors or anything that has pressure sensitivity is already triggered. I can't imagine what level of pressure that is. But it's going to be really cool if you can actually use this thing underwater. Actually use it. But conductivity goes all wonky in water, so you touch one point and you don't know if it's going to be active somewhere else because of the conductivity. One way to prevent water damaging a device is to remove the kind of ports where it would get let in. That will be one reason why Apple would remove the headphone jack from the iPhone 7 back in 2016. Yeah, and as soon as we can get some high-speed contactless charging, wireless charging, then that would be great too, because then you can get rid of the power cord. But a lot of people like to use their device, and they don't want to have to sit there and hold another device just to use it while it's charging. They want to just plug in a cord. So maybe they can make it MagSafe, but not have it so overtly penetrating the case like it is now. USB-C is kind of bulky and goes right through the case, and it causes a problem. I know that because I've made products that use the USB-C connector, and that's usually one of the problems with all kinds of ways of infiltration. Dust and water and air and whatnot can get in. Yeah, not really a pleasant engineering exercise, having to watch out for the minutia like that. unless you're paid really well to do it. Then it's great. Um, let's see what else is in here. Okay, so this article says there then follows around 7,000 words of patent description that details multiple fine differences in how to approach a central idea. That idea does include options about water ingress and egress, but primarily the concern is to create a way for the iPhone or any electrical device to become a pressure transducer. All right. Interesting. So there's a whole lot more in this article, but that really is the gist of the article, is that Apple is continuing to do its fundamental research, trying to reduce things that impact the quality of the device. Something that I think is very admirable for any company. You could rest on your laurels and just release the same product. But when Apple releases a new device, something is either removed or added in such a way that the entire ecosystem around it has to adjust. So this next iPhone isn't going to allow you to use your old cases. It just won't happen, because so much of the ecosystem hinges on the idea that the next device is going to be slightly different. So while anything, let's just assume nothing on the outside of the case is removed or added. The cameras will be moved over at an eighth of an inch, forcing anything that was a tight fitting case to have to be replaced. I've watched that happen again and again and again, at least on its iPhone and iPads. So let's continue on to the next article. I'm not going to stay too long on any one topic. Too long. I end up doing a 2-hour show. And while I would love to stay and play some games today, I will have to do that later. I want to play V Rising, but maybe I'll do it later tonight. The next article is in the Hatch Ideas channel. The founder of collapsed stablecoin Terra USD wants to build another blockchain from its network ashes. I don't know how I would feel about this. Obviously, they can do whatever they want to, but I'm not really into cryptocurrencies or NFTs or anything like that. I just think that it's fear of missing out. And sure, some people take advantage of it and they create wealth without any value. It's just, if I want to appreciate the artwork from an NFT, a screenshot would suffice. And it's not like people are printing their NFTs and saying that they own that picture. You own the NFT and that's it. I would love to see NFTs and blockchain technology applied to electronic purchases so that I can transfer the actual item. Let's say software, particularly Steam purchased software or any software. If the NFT is applied to it, then it allows me to sell that item to somebody else once I'm done with it. Just like everything else that a person buys in the real world, I can purchase an iPhone and sell it, right? But you can't do that with music. You can't do that, okay, with ebooks, audiobooks, software, movies, anything that has nothing more than a license to consume, and that's what we all have now. You purchase something online that's always in electronic format, like a movie or an audiobook or an ebook or a song, and all you have is a license to consume. You don't own the actual product, so you can't sell it to somebody else. We have lost first sale doctrine in the United States because we've accepted the licensing, but cost has not changed. It still is expensive. Well, this says here, Terra USD founder Do Kwon proposed a plan to revive the wrecked Terra ecosystem late Monday. He suggested hard forking the Terra blockchain and abandoning the failed UST stablecoin. Kwon said the new chain would be dubbed Terra, while the old chain would be Terra Classic. Yeah. Let's go over to, it's a section of Business Insider called Markets Insider. Zahra Tayeb is the author of the article, and that's pretty much the summary of the situation here. Let me see one other thing real quick. So Bitcoin has climbed only $231, which is a really slow ascent for Bitcoin. And it's sitting at $30,000 US dollars. Year to date, though, it's down almost 18,000. So assuming you have quite a bit of change, maybe you can take advantage of the decline. The next article is in the Mobile channel. And this is a narco sinkhole swallowed a guy sleeping on his couch. Martin Rios, 26, was asleep in the capital city of the state of Sinaloa when he was awakened by a loud noise around 4 a.m. on May 10th. His mother and two cousins ran to the living room to find Rios, the couch, and a small table at the bottom of a hole that opened up into a tunnel probably built by members of the notorious Sinaloa cartel that controls the city. I'm living in a sinkhole. Oh, wow. That's a neat little ladder right there. Huh. Anyway, I think that's pretty much the gist of this article. The couch he was laying on dropped from a height of around 10 feet, but he sustained only minor injuries. Well, because he was sleeping on a couch. The sinkhole opened up because a tunnel dug by drug traffickers some 10 years ago in a nearby house was never properly closed or filled up, according to local, well, you would have to backfill quite a bit. The passageway ran underneath at least 8 houses, some of which also suffered damage, according to the neighbors. So what caused it to collapse? If it's been there for 10 years, I guess natural, whatever. The ground adjusted and they collapsed into it. It is the way it is, folks. And if you're going to live around drug tunnels, then this is one of the bonuses you get. Okay, so this is an article over at Vice.com by Louis Shapiro. Let's continue on to the next article. I'm about halfway through with today's show. This next article is in the Hedge Ideas channel. SpaceX is selling shares at $125 billion valuation as Elon Musk rejigs Twitter financing. SpaceX is planning to sell shares to employees, the New York Post and Bloomberg report. SpaceX plans to sell at $70 a share, which would value the company at $125 billion. This comes as CEO Elon Musk is reportedly seeking new financing for his Twitter takeover. I would love to buy SpaceX stock, but man, not everything that glitters is gold, I tell you. Isabel Asher Hamilton is the author of this article over at Business Insider. And so it says the move comes as Musk is trying to restructure the financing for his bid to buy Twitter. Supposedly, he already has the $44 billion for Twitter. But the Twitter stock, let's see something here. Oops. So it's at $37.84 today. And its year to date is still down just shy of $5. But it took it's back to its April 1st price, which is hilarious. I don't know. It's always been idling at the price that it currently is. I mean, or lower. Typically around 33 or so, 35, you could argue. But since April, it's been way high with the thinking that Elon Musk is going to take it over. But there's some discussion about the number of active real users, not just bots. And we'll see if they are public about the disclosure of what is a bot and what is not, considering that they're going to be sampling from Twitter and others, I suppose, to see how many bots are actually following people. The next article is over in the Order of the Bean channel, which is about coffee. And it says, track your brews with this lovely coffee journal. So there's a coffee journal over on Indiegogo. I've only purchased one, or I shouldn't say purchased, you pledge for the facilitation of whatever it is that you are interested in over at Indiegogo. I've done many, many more over at Kickstarter, but only one over at Indiegogo, and it has yet to be fulfilled 4 years later. They're still talking as if it's going to come into existence, but with the pandemic and their lack of supply chain influence, I don't really think that's going to happen. But this is simple compared to what I bought into. And it's just a little coffee journal, and you can write down whatever you want in it. But it is a coffee journal, so you write your recipes and your impressions of the recipes. And for me, I would do a tech-driven one, but some people still like to write. My motto is physical media is dead. It says the coffee journal is an effort from our side to tell the story about Indian coffee, thereby de-anonymizing it. Namisha Parthasarathi tells Sprudge. The artwork is meant to highlight the interconnectedness of biodiversity, fauna, and the final cup. It also questions or makes us think about which brewers come to mind when we think of specialty coffee drinks. As for what's inside, it has all the necessary fields to log and track brews. With just under 2 weeks left in the campaign, the Coffee Journal has raised $3,300 or 2,700 pounds of its 4,000 pounds or $4,900 flex goal. Set to retail for 25 pounds or $31, backers can pick up a copy of the Coffee Journal for themselves for as little as $22 or $27, 22 pounds or $27. 5% of the proceeds of all sales go to protecting the endangered Asian elephant. So go check it out. The author of this article, though, is Zach Cadwallader over at sprudge.com. So thank you very much, Sprudge. The next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel. Paramount shares jumped 10% after Buffett's Berkshire reveals new stake. Berkshire bought 68.9 million shares of Paramount to build a stake worth $2.6 billion as of the end of March. That's the kind of money that you need to make that kind of money, for crying out loud. I still have yet to do that. Anyway, the article is over at CNBC by Hannah Mio. It might be Mayo. Anyway, it's spelled M-I-A-O. So I'm a subscriber of Paramount Plus. And basically what is happening, if you've not noticed this, is that regular broadcast television is not moving to internet alone. You are getting apps. So you might get a web-based interface as well as an app, but that app controls everything. So you are going to get tracked by ads. You're not going to be able to fast forward the ads, or you pay a premium price and you get ad free. But in this new world, instead of having channels, you have apps. Now you can have an app that also has all of the channels within it, depending on who your cable provider is. So like you can use DirecTV, which there's a really weird thing that happened. So I'm an early adopter of DirecTV, um, but not it's the streaming service DirecTV. So there was a satellite service called DirecTV, and then it became DirecTV Now. Then it became Apple, or not Apple, AT&T TV. Then it became AT&T something else, or AT&T Direct TV, and then it became AT&T TV, and then it became DirecTV Stream. Convoluted, almost Microsoft in nature, naming conventions where it's changed every year, and it has really. And they've raised prices for the early adopters, $10 a month, almost $10 a year for the last 3 years, 4 years. So I ended up paying the same price as everybody else for what I've got. At any rate, that is what's happening. Everybody is you're getting an app for the creator of the whatever movies they might be. The studio now is the one in charge of streaming. The internet is just a vehicle for the app to provide whatever the studio services are. So, and I'm not sure what Paramount qualifies as because it's a studio, but it's broadcasting, and it's a convoluted mess, I suppose. Maybe I can clean it up in my head and talk about it better. But the issue here is that 25 years ago, people were joking about, oh, you're going to have to pay a little bit more to get this channel. Well, now you're doing it across the board. You're either paying a cable TV provider to give you an app and you're streaming what normally would be broadcast across cable, or you're subscribing to the studio itself, in this case, Paramount. So now you've got so much control aggregated into one place instead of it being broadcast to multiple people and you just watch the ads. Now you've got an influencer like Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. In Berkshire Hathaway, if you look at its stock price, is wild. The last time, it's been about maybe a month and a half, 2 months since I looked it up, but let's see what Berkshire is at. So there's different classes of shares. Goodness, 1 second. So it is right now at $472,091.61. So just shy of $472,100 per share of Class A stock. Now, this is like it used to be as high as $545,000 a share, but this is like Berkshire Hathaway Prime stock, and Warren Buffett doesn't like doing stock splits and stuff like that of this Class A share. So it's dramatically high in its price. Anyway, them buying Paramount just shows that Paramount is undervalued and will increase in value so that there is a return on the investment, and there is some influence from Berkshire Hathaway. Hey, we like this. Hey, we don't like this, that kind of thing. Paramount was Berkshire's 18th largest holding at the end of the first quarter. The new stake adds another streaming property to Berkshire's portfolio, whose top holding is Apple. The media company in February rebranded from Viacom CBS to Paramount in a move to emphasize its flagship Paramount Plus streaming service. While Paramount missed earnings expectations in its latest quarterly report, Paramount Plus added 6.8 million subscribers in the first quarter, which wildly wiped out CNN Plus. Everybody likes Plus. Everything old is new again because some 30 years ago, my first nationwide service had that little Plus moniker added to it, and that was 30 years ago. So I guess I'm an early adopter by 30 years. Yeah, I'm pretty old. I act like somebody half my age, but I act like somebody way less than my age. Anyway, So this next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel, and it is why Tim Cook says college grads should prioritize personal values in their careers. Leading a company and good life are not the same thing. We'll click this and post that here in chat, and it says, so Meg Sauer, it might be Sauer, but I don't know. This is a CNBC.com article, and so Tim Cook gave a speech. Says instead, it's about making a career and a life out of what drives you. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. In fact, Cook, who joined Apple in 1998 and became CEO in 2011, said a sense of meaning is what initially drew him to the company. Yeah, well, now he's making a ton of money. Let's see. So Cook's total compensation for 2021 includes $3 million annual salary, $82.3 million stock award, and a $12 million cash bonus. And yeah, $100 million. Ta-da! Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what his 2022 package is going to be, but $100 million. And it's pretty easy to say that leading a quality life and being a CEO isn't the same thing. Except if you do it when you're younger, you can actually have a really, really good quality life. I don't know. Cook's prioritization of accessibility likely resonated with Friday's audience. Let's see. The only university in the world where deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing students live and learn bilingually in American Sign Language and English, according to the school's website. Gallaudet University. A 2020 initiative gifted all of the school students and faculty with MacBook Pros and iPad Pros last year. An all-deaf team worked with the company to create Apple Map guides to spotlight businesses and organizations that support the deaf community. Good. Wonderful. We need more equality and equity and facilitating technology to everybody. So that's great. Cool. Do more of that. $100 million would go a really long way. Okay. Let's continue on. The next article, in the Word in Tech, Apple testing foldable second e-ink display, says analyst. I don't think this should go anywhere. Of course, it's Ming-Chi Kuo. Apple is reportedly testing the use of a color display from e-ink as an external screen for an unannounced foldable device. The Color EPD, electronic paper display, has the potential to become a mainstream solution for foldable devices. Must-have cover/second screen thanks to its excellent power saving, the analyst wrote in a tweet. So I think that e-ink is great. I think it's wonderful and amazing technology, but I don't think that it's going to spawn anything in its current state from Apple. So them doing fundamental testing, fundamental research, brilliant. I would love to have a folding screen, and not really folding. I think Apple's more inclined to make a roll-up screen so that you can take it and just slide it out. An iPad that has that kind of a mechanism and then lock in place would be great. And you could just roll it back up, and if it's the size of the diameter of like a quarter or something like that, so that you can just roll it all up and it still has a 12-inch display, that would be perfect for me. I would love that. But it's all about refresh rate and life and durability. Battery life. So this article is over at theverge.com by John Porter. And it says here, Apple is reportedly testing the use of colored display from e-ink as an external screen for an unannounced foldable project. Most tablet-style foldables on the market today pair a large folding inner display with a smaller outer display for quickly checking notifications, but existing devices like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 or the Oppo Find N use OLED panels for both, and that is completely out of the question. I don't think that there is longevity there for OLED panels that fold. I don't think the physics allows for it today, maybe in 10 years. But I think some more, again, fundamental research needs to be performed. So we need some electrical engineers, some engineers and computer scientists and fundamental researchers in all levels of college, university. There have been persistent rumors that Apple is planning on joining the likes of Samsung and Huawei in releasing a foldable display. Everybody's looking into it, folks. It's not a secret. The next article is in Mobile, and it's indicative of what's going on in the world today as people are trying to address the fact that people don't want to go anywhere. They want to stay at home and have a better work-life balance, yet employers are saying you have to show up. So this is the pandemic's arrival turned spaces like WeWork into ghost towns. Now people are lining up for low commitment offices, and providers are working to sustain that trend. And that's because people don't want to commit to something anymore because they see that you can do your work anywhere. This is an article by Erin Wu. Let's see. She's Melissa Pancoast is one of 1,100 members of the 76,400 square feet WeWork location, which has 3 floors with panoramic views of the San Francisco Bay. Her neighbors include startups that make business software, online recruiting tools for engineers, and open source database systems. Yeah, I think this is a great idea. I had this idea way back, but like many projects, I don't have the connections because I left California a while back, but I got my roots in the startup communities, but never brought it to where I am now. That said, ideas are just ideas. Execution is where it really matters. That's where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. So a place like WeWork allows people to network. There can be a little bit of industrial espionage taking place in a place like that, in that people share ideas and others can execute on them faster if they're more strategically inclined for that. But at any rate, if you want to know more about WeWork, you can go and check out this article over at New York Times. Companies just don't want to have a big carbon footprint for long term unless they know that their business is going to have traction and they can capitalize on the capital investment. Some businesses are closing down their terrestrial offices in favor of virtual existence. The next article, and it might be my last. No, it's second to last. Stock Marketeers, that's the channel this has been aggregated into. It's called Bookwatch, and Amazon's stock price has slumped almost 34% this year. This money manager says it's a steal and could surge 76% to $3,900 in 2 years. So this article was put together by Adam Cecil, and it's over at MarketWatch. It's an opinion piece, and the author of the article, do they really? I don't think that's the author. Anyway, they say here's the math. So the stock market is a funny place. When great businesses go on sale, most people don't rejoice. Instead, they freak out. This presents an excellent opportunity for long-term investors who keep their wits about them and triangulate between price and value. So let's see something here. So Amazon right now is at $2,249.97, and it's up today, just shy of $34. Let's see. Um, I'd have to look more into it. Anyway, the 52-week high actually is 37.73. So I would say that this is probably about right. It really depends though on what is going on. Um, yeah, the year high says 52-week high is 37.73. But I just pulled a year to date and it's 34. So it's still $1,200 below its year high. I'm not quite sure what all is happening here because on April 4th, it was at just shy of $3,400. So it hasn't been this low for more than a year, 2 years, 5 years. Let's see. It's been since 2019. It wasn't this low since 2019. So maybe this person is right, but it might be just plain obvious. And something weird is going on because I just don't see why it would decline. It's still facilitating things. I'd have to do a deeper dive to look into what it might be that's causing it to go down. It says even the biggest skeptic will concede that Amazon has large and formidable moats around both its major businesses. Its original business, e-commerce, commands nearly 50% of all online retail traffic. Pardon me. The company's cloud platform, Amazon Web Services, has a similarly dominant market share of outsourced computing, and while Amazon's core business is renting out dumb servers, it bundles that commodity with a suite of powerful software and analytics tools. So yes, Amazon AWS is pretty compelling. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. You'll have to go over and read more about this if you want to do a deeper dive. But Amazon certainly, I think that it's still outside my um, risk for me personally. Um, Mainly because I think that this is all about owning something that long term is sustainable. It has the supply chain, it has the delivery service, it has all of the tech involved that makes it really stable. But I think that the speculation of its long term viability has already been accounted for, and that's why the stock price is so high. I think a similar company, if it existed, wouldn't be trading at 22.53, let alone 3,700. In fact, let me check something. 1 second. So let's see. Yeah, see, Amazon's market cap is 1.14 trillion. Let me see something real quick. Sorry for the dead air. 1 more second. Okay, so Amazon reported that its full year 2021 net sales grew by 22% to $469 billion. And Alibaba was at 110, so a quarter of its value, a quarter of Amazon's value. Yet Alibaba Holding Group is trading at $90 versus, and has a market cap of $243 billion, and Amazon is trading at $2,300 roughly and has a market cap of $1.14 trillion. So I don't know, a little out of line, but I guess we can watch it. The next article, and the last one for today, is about the Apple Watch, and it's in the Smack Talk channel, which is, again, about Apple. Apple is investigating how to make the battery in an Apple Watch move in order to provide haptic feedback to the wearer. Let's click the link. It takes us over to Apple Insider. And Apple is investigating how to make the battery in the Apple Watch move in order to provide haptic feedback to the wearer. Apple's continuing its efforts to make the Apple Watch thinner, this time by looking to remove the need for a standalone haptic engine. Instead of space being taken up by that engine, Apple is looking to see if it can instead make the battery do double duty as a haptic feedback source. I don't know about that. You still need all of the mechanisms that facilitate haptic feedback, so capitalizing on it would reduce it slightly, I suppose, mainly because it no longer has to have a separate entity moving. But the thing that makes the haptic feedback haptic still has to be there. It has to shift something. So there's going to be something that the battery is basically going to be sitting on. Careful what you wish for, folks, because attaching a battery to the haptic enabling technology means that it's probably going to be spot welded to the haptic engine, just so that it is stable and solid. Hopefully it's a removable mounting system. Otherwise, this thing is going to be wholly unrepairable if it isn't already. I haven't looked at iFixit yet to see. But Apple's strong suit really is micronizing its technology. This is an article over at appleinsider.com by William Gallagher, by the way. I've been a little lax, I suppose, in I think one or two of the articles I said today. I didn't provide who the source was, at least in terms of the author. With that in mind, though, it'll all be in the show notes in the podcast and over at YouTube, hopefully by 6 o'clock tonight. Depends on if I can get my work done. So with all that in mind, I want to thank you for coming over to ohmTown. Really appreciate you hanging out with me if you have been hanging out with me. If not, what are you doing? Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope to get the show actually started at 11 o'clock tomorrow. That might end up being 1 o'clock, like today was trending towards, but I have another meeting that I have to go to. As usual, it's tough being mayor. And want to thank you again. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.